Hi there, I'm Maura. Ever felt like your own family watched you build everything, then tore it down piece by piece? Mine did. They erased me from the will, stole from my savings, spread lies about me, and when I finally found peace, they tried to ruin that too. How do you survive when the people you love turn your life into a battleground? Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted most? What would you do if your parents chose your sibling over you, again and again? Also, tell me, what time is it where you are, and where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. The air in Spokane still clung to winter's breath, crisp and damp, the sky a pale smudge of gray above the old neighborhood. I pulled into the driveway of my parents' house on Mayfield Lane, gravel crunching under the tires like a sound I could feel in my teeth. The hedges were still trimmed the way Dad liked them, straight lines, no curves, no chaos. That was how they liked their world, and for years I helped keep it that way. I came every Saturday, grocery runs, bill sorting, boiler resets. I paid for the new roof last fall. They never asked me to, but they didn't need to. I'd always stepped in before things broke down, because that's what a good daughter did. Inside, my mother handed me a dusty stack of mail and some folders. "Can you just go through these for us, hon?" she asked, tone sweetened by years of practiced dependency. I nodded, barely listening, already sorting through forms and insurance reminders. One envelope caught my eye, thicker than the rest, labeled in her delicate cursive, estate plan and will. My hand hesitated. Something tightened in my chest. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. I skimmed the legalese, half disbelieving until I hit the summary. All real and personal property shall be transferred to Skylar Ann Henderson. My sister. Only her name, not a mention of me, not even a clause, not even a footnote. We love both our daughters. That was the only reference to me. A single throwaway line like I was a ghost haunting the margins. I stared at the page, frozen. My ears rang. I remembered the time I left a site inspection at midnight to bring Dad to the ER. The time I covered Skylar's car insurance when she wrecked hers and couldn't tell them. The way I skipped my dream job in Chicago because Mom said, "It's better when you're close." None of it mattered. They'd erased me. I folded the document carefully, even as my knuckles whitened. Later, as Mom peeled carrots for the stew, I set the paper on the counter. "What's this?" I asked, voice flat. She looked, blinked. "Oh, that, I thought we gave you a copy." "You didn't." "Well, Skylar's had a rough few years, sweetheart." Dad entered behind me, already shaking his head. "You're doing well, Maura." "She's not. It's only fair." Fair. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted metal. "You know I paid your mortgage last spring, right?" He shrugged. "We didn't ask you to." That one hit like a slap. I left without touching the stew. At home, I opened the fireproof safe I hadn't touched in years, scanned documents, old files, utility deeds, and there it was, will_2016.pdf. I clicked. My name was there, in bold, equal shares, joint executor, the whole thing. They hadn't just forgotten me, they'd rewritten me out. I sat back, the glow of the screen cold against my face. I whispered it aloud. They didn't forget me. They erased me. My phone buzzed. "Mom." "Did you find that file?" I didn't reply. The invitation arrived via text, complete with glittery emojis and a pastel flyer that read, "Skylar's Milestone Bash, New Era." It felt less like a gesture of sisterhood and more like a marketing tactic. But I showed up anyway. Not out of love. Out of curiosity. That house used to smell like burnt coffee and Dad's aftershave. I wanted to know what it smelled like now. Mid-March brought an early bloom to Spokane, and tulips lined the walk as I stepped onto the familiar porch. I could hear laughter pouring from inside, too light, too rehearsed. A banner hung across the entry, a toast to new beginnings. Inside, the rooms had transformed. Fairy lights twinkled where family portraits used to hang. The vintage couch I'd spent nights sleeping on during Dad's hospital stays was gone, replaced by something sleek, sterile, expensive. Skylar wore white, floor-length silk that caught every camera flash. Her smile was blinding, practiced. She clinked her champagne flute. To family, she purred, standing on the fireplace hearth. To dreams coming true. And to this house, my sanctuary now, thanks to Mom and Dad's generosity. Applause erupted. Some people even cheered. My jaw didn't drop. It locked. She glanced at me, just briefly, like daring me to interrupt. I didn't. I stepped outside before the heat behind my eyes turned liquid. I sat in my car, engine off, heart racing. I pulled up her Instagram. At Skyda's Spokane had become a curated fantasy. Sponsored yoga mats, rooftop brunches, weekend spa escapes. The captions sang, Legacy Living, and grateful to my roots for this rise. She was branding our family's silence, monetizing the void where I used to exist. One video showed her unwrapping a designer purse. I remembered when she maxed out her 5th credit card and I paid it off. She cried, said she'd do better. She didn't. Back at home, I placed both wills side by side, the old one with my name, the new one with just hers. They didn't defend me at the party, didn't notice when I left, didn't care that I stood in the rain for 5 minutes before driving away. I was a donor, an invisible one. She inherited the house, I murmured, but I carried its weight. I didn't call her, not yet. Instead, I opened a secure folder on my laptop, uploaded every receipt, every Venmo record, every home repair invoice, labeled the folder Truth. They could erase me in front of an audience, but I had data, memories, facts, a ping. Skylar tagged me in a story. Nothing like celebrating new chapters with old love at Maura built this. I didn't respond, but I whispered, erase me all you want. I'm documenting everything. My phone lit up before sunrise. Pings, buzzes, one after another. I groaned, reached out without opening my eyes, and pulled it into bed. 22 unread texts, a dozen missed calls, notifications stacked like bricks on my chest. First screenshot, a Facebook post. Wanda's profile photo looked like it hadn't changed in 5 years. Pearl necklace, 2 red lipstick. The caption read, "It's heartbreaking when your own daughter turns her back after all we've sacrificed. We raised her with love, not greed." I sat up, heart thudding. The next message came from a former coworker. "Hey, I just wanted to say I hope you're okay. That post your mom made. It's all over the place." Another. "Didn't expect that from you. Thought you were different." I dropped the phone, chest tight. Air felt thin. At the office, whispers swirled in the break room. One woman passed by my desk with a pity smile that reeked of judgment. Another offered, "Family stuff's rough, huh?" It wasn't curiosity. It was quiet condemnation. During lunch, I couldn't stop myself. I opened Facebook. Wanda had gone live. In the video, she sat in her prayer shawl on the floral love seat. Her eyes were red, cheeks streaked with mascara. "Sometimes," she sobbed, "your children forget the values you taught them. They get blinded by worldly success." She sniffled, then quoted, "Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land." My stomach turned. Then came Skylar's comment, pinned midstream. "We tried everything. Some hearts just grow cold." Sympathy exploded, likes, heart emojis. "You're so strong, Wanda." Sending love and donations. Someone even wrote, "I knew Maura was trouble when she left the choir group." I slammed my laptop shut. The silence in the office stretched like smoke. Later, in my car, I stared at the church I once taught Sunday school in. The windows glinted. No one called. No one checked on me. At home, I opened my laptop again. Folders. I started naming them. Truth. Evidence. Receipts. I dragged files in, screenshots of messages, scans of checks I'd written to them over the years, a photo of the leaking roof I paid to replace. They wanted a narrative. I had one too, just unpublished. My hand hovered over the webcam. I didn't turn it on. Not yet. "If they want war," I whispered, I'll give them truth. The morning was still, the kind that tricked you into believing peace had returned. I brewed coffee, shuffled to my desk, and opened my banking app, hoping to transfer funds into my rainy day account, the only thing that still felt like it belonged to me. The number didn't look right. My eyes narrowed. I refreshed the page. $12,500 was gone. One withdrawal. LMC Debt Solutions, LLC. I didn't recognize the name. My stomach dropped. I clicked deeper. A joint account flag blinked at the top, and just like that, a pit opened in my chest. I'd set up shared access with Skylar 2 years ago, after she called crying about a bounced check and a car repair. I never revoked it. I never thought I had to. My hands trembled as I called the bank. The rep was polite, robotic. Yes, the transaction was authorized through an existing shared access. No fraud investigation, no refund. I sat still, pulse thudding in my ears. I had trusted her. She'd reached into my life and stolen without so much as a text. I started Googling LMC Debt Solutions. A low-budget website loaded, clip art logos, a Gmail contact. I checked reviews, scam alert, no license, pending lawsuits, pages full of victims warning others not to fall for the same social media ad. I closed the browser. Skylar had paid a ghost to clean up her financial mess with my money. I stood, pacing my one-bedroom apartment, trying to do the math. That money was supposed to cover the photography course I'd been saving for. A new lens, maybe even a short trip, somewhere I could remember who I was before all this. Now, gone. Not just stolen, repackaged and tossed into a void, attached to someone else's recklessness. They don't see me, I whispered, voice raw. They only see my wallet. I pulled open a drawer, removed a folder labeled contingency plan. My handwriting from years ago stared back, hesitant, small. It was no longer theoretical. I dialed a lawyer. The line clicked. I need to ask about financial misuse in a family context, I said. There was a pause. Depends, the voice said. Are you ready for a fight? My lips curled into a quiet, bitter smile. I've been ready since they deleted me from the will. I was halfway through adjusting the ISO on my camera when the knock came. Not a delivery, not a neighbor, just steady, urgent tapping, like guilt personified. I opened the door, and there she was, Skylar, in a hoodie 2 sizes too big, hair pulled into a messy bun, and clutching a faded manila folder like it might fall apart in her hands. Just 5 minutes, please. I didn't move, I didn't nod, but I stepped aside. She took one cautious step in, her eyes darting around like she expected to be kicked out any second. I gestured toward the chair. She didn't sit. Instead, she opened the folder, fingers trembling. The house is going under, she said. Every bill's overdue. Collection agencies keep calling. I'm drowning, Maura. I didn't say a word. She went on, breathless and frantic. I didn't think it would happen this fast. The money, it just evaporated. I tried fixing it, but you always knew how to fix things. A tear rolled down her cheek. You're the only one who ever held it all together. I need you now. I stood still, arms folded, teeth pressing into the inside of my cheek. She reached into the folder and pulled out a stack of photos, glossy, time-worn edges curling. One showed us at the lake, arms around each other, sand clinging to our legs. Another, a birthday cake with uneven candles, and our hands clasped over a knife. You were like a second mom, she said softly. That has to count for something. Something in me buckled, but only for a second. I took the photo. The edges were sticky from old tape. It had once lived on my bedroom wall. This isn't love, I said. This is strategy. Her lips parted, eyes glassy. That's not fair. No, I cut in. What's not fair is you stealing from me, humiliating me, and then showing up like a sad movie montage. She dropped her gaze. I'll put your name back on the deed. I laughed. I don't want the house, Skylar. I want peace, and you don't come with it. I walked to the door and opened it. She lingered for a beat. So that's it? I didn't blink. That's it. She left in silence. I turned back inside, walked to the closet, and pulled out a shoebox. Inside were cards, notes, and the exact same photo she had shown me. This one folded down the middle, a wrinkle running right between our smiles. "You forgot I saved everything," I whispered, "including the truth." I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer. The quiet felt off. I stepped into the Monday morning team meeting and immediately noticed it. Soft glances shifting away, the usual laughter dulled. No one made eye contact. Even Jerry, who always cracked a dad joke before the agenda, just nodded and cleared his throat. By lunchtime, I got the text. "There's an email going around," Dana wrote. "You okay?" My stomach dropped. I found an empty meeting room, locked the door, and pulled up the attachment she forwarded. The subject line: Intentional Estrangement. Maura's Plan. The message looked like one of my own. It even started with my words. But it had been twisted. "I'll let them crash and burn," it read. Except I never typed that. It was from an early draft I'd saved in a shared family Google Drive. A rant I never sent, full of frustration after that party. The real version was angry, yes, but personal, never malicious. Now it read like a manifesto for revenge. Wanda. It had to be Wanda. She had access back when I was helping them with digital stuff, password resets, printer links. I never thought she'd weaponize it. At 2:14 p.m., I was called into HR. A formal tone. "We received an anonymous concern questioning your professionalism and alignment with company values." I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I explained calmly, offered to forward the original draft. I could see the discomfort in their eyes, though. Not because they didn't believe me, but because it was easier not to. Back at my desk, my inbox pinged. A message from a former church member. "Heard what you said about your parents. Very disappointed." And then another. "Your mom called me crying. Said she's heartbroken you'd smear the family like that." Friends stopped replying. A former client canceled a consult. My landlord, who used to wave and chat, avoided eye contact in the hallway. I checked the post's reach. Shared over 50 times. Skylar had even commented, "None of us are perfect, but we never expected this from family." They were trying to paint me unrecognizable, make me untouchable, one rumor at a time. That night, I printed the fake email. I took a red pen and drew a thick line through every altered sentence. I circled every date, timestamp, and login pattern. They wanted war? I turned to my laptop, opened a blank document, titled it Timeline of Every Lie. I stood in the center of the gallery, fingers tracing the frame of the last piece I'd hung. Light spilled in from the tall front windows, catching the edge of my signature on the matte print. I let myself feel it. Pride. Quiet, hard-earned mine. "This is mine," I whispered. "No one gave it. I built it." Then my phone buzzed. "Can we talk?" The coordinator's voice was tight. She motioned toward the office in the back, her lips pressed in a line I'd seen too often lately, uncertain sympathy. Inside, she slid a printed email across the table. "We received this yesterday. It claims your work may be plagiarized. The letters signed by your former professor." I read it in silence. The font mimicked the college's letterhead. It called my series derivative at best, fraudulent at worst. Said I'd reused another artist's concept and passed it off as my own. The paper trembled slightly in my grip. I knew that tone, that deliberate phrasing, that need to wound without truth. Wanda, Skylar's fingerprints weren't far either. They'd tried shame, theft, manipulation, now sabotage. I emailed the professor immediately. He responded within the hour. "Not only did I not write that, Maura," he typed, "I submitted your work to 2 grant committees myself. You have my full support." He even recorded a short video of endorsement, offering to speak directly with the gallery team. The coordinator exhaled relief when I played it for her. "We'll go ahead as planned," she said. "But people may still talk." Let them. I added a new piece to the gallery wall that afternoon. Not a photo, just words printed on canvas, framed beside my most vulnerable image. A self-portrait in silhouette, backlit by the ruins of the family house. The title, Blood isn't always bond. That night, I called Wanda. No preamble. If your plan was to destroy everything I've worked for, congratulations, I said. But here's the part you never learned. I rebuild better. Silence. Then Skylar's text lit up. You're making us look bad. Stop, I saved it. As the gallery filled with guests that evening, I saw her, Wanda, standing just outside, framed in the doorway. She didn't move, just stared through the glass like a ghost in a story I no longer belonged to. I met her gaze, no smile, no acknowledgement, just the stillness of understanding. Then I turned back toward the light and walked away. I sat alone in the waiting area of the mediation center, legs crossed, folder resting on my lap. Beyond the glass wall, I watched them, Wanda in a tailored blazer, Skylar in oversized sunglasses, sipping iced lattes like they were backstage at a fashion shoot, not about to be confronted for slander. They whispered and laughed, eyes flicking toward me like I was some underdressed guest at their private show. This isn't revenge. This is closure. A receptionist called us in. The room was sterile, long table, neutral art, the air-conditioned kind of cold. The mediator, an older man with a calming presence, explained the rules. Keep it civil. One voice at a time, no interruptions. Wanda spoke first. We were only trying to preserve the family's reputation. Things spiraled, misunderstandings. Skylar jumped in. Maura's vendetta has cost us emotionally, socially. She's making herself a victim. It's manipulative. I kept my eyes steady. Let them perform. When it was my turn, I didn't raise my voice. This isn't about feelings. It's about facts. Skylar scoffed. You can't prove anything. I slid the flash drive across the table. Play this. The mediator plugged it in. The recording crackled. Then Skylar's voice came through, clear and unmistakable. I only tweaked a few words, come on. Who's gonna dig that deep into metadata? She said, laughing. Besides, Maura's too proud to fight dirty. The room went still. Wanda's face lost all its color. Skylar looked like she'd swallowed glass. The mediator hit pause. We'll need to escalate this. This exceeds what mediation can resolve. Wanda fumbled. That recording, she baited her. It's legal, I said, and I'm done being baited. Outside the room, Wanda followed. Maura, please. This can't be how it ends. I turned. It ended when you chose to erase me. Now I'm just setting the record straight. Skylar didn't speak, just stared at the pavement like it might swallow her. I walked away without a backward glance, the heaviness lifting one truth at a time. That night, a voicemail blinked on my phone. My father's voice. Rough. Tired. I didn't know it had gone this far. Please, let's talk. I played it once, then deleted it. Later, I set up my camera in the living room, pulled down the shades, and stood in front of the lens. No makeup, no smile. Just me, bare, present, unedited. I titled the portrait, Liberated. I walked past the house on Mayfield Lane one last time. A sun-bleached "Sold" sign hung crooked on the lawn, the siding chipped where I'd once stood on a ladder, replacing rotted wood in the cold. The new buyers had picked it up for a fraction of what it once held, in money and memory. Empty windows stared back at me like hollow eyes. Whatever warmth had existed inside was long gone, buried under layers of silence, lies, and broken promises. I didn't linger. I didn't need to. 2 days later, a blue envelope slipped through my mail slot. I recognized the handwriting instantly, sharp loops and slanted regret. My fingers hesitated before tearing it open. Maura, it began, you were always the strong one. We didn't think you'd need help. I suppose that frightened us more than it should have. No apology, just wistful justification wrapped in guilt. Wanda's words twisted themselves into a subtle rope of sentiment, tugging at something deep, but no longer raw. We miss you, before it's too late. Maybe there's still time. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in the bottom drawer of my desk, beneath receipts, documents, and the older version of the will. Not forgotten, just filed. Later that week, I stood in the local gallery, watching my students prepare their end-of-term showcase. Laughter echoed through the white-walled space as frames were adjusted, lighting tweaked. On the far wall hung my own piece, a triptych titled Growth, Break, Bloom. 3 images, 1 journey, mine. People drifted by, pointing, nodding, not in pity, admiration. For the first time in years, I wasn't someone's daughter or sister or scapegoat. I was simply Maura, artist, mentor, survivor. After the crowd thinned, I stepped outside. The evening was soft, golden. I drove to the lake and sat on the same weathered bench where Skylar and I had once skipped stones, long before betrayal had names and faces. The sky reflected in the water like another world trying to break through. A bird lifted from the reeds, its wings slicing the air with ease. Maybe some stories don't need rewriting. Maybe they just need to be closed. I whispered to the breeze, "Enough." I stood, slung the camera over my shoulder, and walked into the dusk, not looking back. Sometimes the most painful break isn't between people. It's between who you were and who you finally choose to become. I used to think silence was strength, that holding everything in meant I was in control. But healing doesn't happen in hiding. It happens when you stop begging for a seat at a table that's already thrown you out. If this story felt familiar or hit too close to your own life, I hope it reminds you, your peace matters. Your boundaries matter. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away, not out of bitterness, but because you finally believe you deserve better. Have you ever had to choose yourself over family? What was the moment that pushed you to let go? If this video moved you, drop a 1 in the comments or tell me where you're watching from. And hey, if it didn't, let me know why and where this story met you in your life. Let's talk. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. There's more truth, more healing, and more stories waiting for you.